Well, on to the Eskom story now, and Eskom has said that large companies must cut down on their electricity consumption as the state-owned utility is facing a power crisis. We are very happy to have Andrew Etzinger in studio with us from Eskom and reinstated now as the company's spokesman. Andrew, nice to have you here. What's the story? Just take us through. We will get to Duva in a moment, but how serious is the problem?
Look, I would say it is as serious as it has been since 2008. I think the last time I was in studio with you was 2008 during the load shedding. So yes, it is serious, but it's nowhere near as serious as we had in 2008. We're saying for the next 2 weeks we will be constrained with a low reserve margin. Unfortunately, that translates into risk. And as we know, stochastically, things do go wrong from time to time. And that's what we saw on Tuesday.
It's 2 weeks, is it?
Yes, until next Friday. And after that, the festive period comes in, holidays come in, and we naturally see a drop in electricity demand, which will give us the reserve margin we need again.
Now, the DA has been going on at you in Parliament. They're not the only people. It's Duva where the problem has recurred. Is there a management issue at that power station?
There's, within the Duva power station, good management. This is not about Duva. This is about a number of generators across the Eskom fleet of power stations where problems occur from time to time. It's Duva one day and it'll be another power station another day. The root cause of this is maintenance which has been deferred for many, many years across the fleet, which has made the fleet less reliable than it needs to be. So that'll be at Duva, it'll be at all our stations. So what we are doing at the moment is a very aggressive approach towards maintenance. We have a lot of plant out for planned maintenance, including plant at Duva, to make sure that it performs better in the long run. But that has given us a low reserve margin. So as Duva was really the straw on the camel's back. It's not about Duva. There's no special. It's a well-managed power station. But again, it's been driven extremely hard. It's been under-maintained, and we need to catch up.
Will these increased maintenance costs maybe cost your company quite a significant amount of money?
Certainly, maintenance costs money, but that has been built into our financial forecasts and is catered for in terms of what the regulator has granted us in terms of costs. And that is extremely small in relation to the benefit that we get from maintenance. You can just imagine those power stations will simply not last if they're not properly maintained.
When are you going to catch up?
That's going to take about 2 years to catch up the full maintenance, and bearing in mind that our fleet of power stations on average is 30 years old. An average power station is 30 years old. It's needing a lot more maintenance to begin with. So do we ever catch up? It's just a regime that's going to have to be continuously rolled out from here for the rest of these power stations' lives.
What you've told us now is not filling me with a lot of confidence. Maybe it is you, Gugu, but Andrew, you're saying to us maintenance has been poor for many years. It's going to take 2 more years to catch up. Yeah. My goodness, we were hoping that by this time the new Medupi plant was going to kick in and we'd all be able to growing or plan to a growth economy again.
Certainly. Had Medupi or any other plant been online, any new power station been online at this time, it would have alleviated the situation. But in reality, as you say, we have deferred maintenance. The plant is still a good plant. I'm not saying that it's falling to pieces, but it is becoming less reliable, and that's what I'm referring to. Had Medupi, let's take the first generator, been online at this time, it really would have meant that we would have simply taken another plant out somewhere at another power station for maintenance. It would have been great to do it, but it's not an instant fix to this situation. The backlog all the way back to 2008 has been with us.
At the top of the show, Andrew, I made mention to Alec, and he wasn't too pleased about a foreign analyst's comments regarding how Eskom might have structural issues with regard to these power cuts and how they might impact on FDI. Is that a concern for you as to how the foreign community views South Africa with regard to such issues?
Of course it is, and our large industrial customers have taken a lot of pain, and then that translates in a lot of sacrifice over the last 2 days. So we're working very hard to make sure that we, as soon as possible, lift the emergency which we declared and allow them to go back to full production, because it does affect, of course, sentiment, investment, public psyche as well. So I think as soon as we get back out of the situation, the better. We've got a few more days of constraints, and then from there, hopefully, plain sailing. But what's really important in this we need to ask is that all South Africans to please use electricity conservatively. If we get the conservation from South Africans, we can give that power back to large industry and get them going that much sooner. So it's about a collective effort that we need at the time between the country and Eskom to.
But it's a couple of weeks. It's not a structural issue. That was really my point. Surely, in 2 weeks' time, or do we believe you this time? I suppose that's the problem.
I don't believe it's a structural issue. Eskom is a fundamentally sound company, and the approach that we've taken towards our maintenance is supported actually by the large industrial customers as well, who take a very active interest in Eskom, and we share information on an ongoing basis with them. They fully understand the situation and the risks that we needed to take on our grid in order to catch up on the maintenance, because the long-term prosperity and success and sustainability of our industry depends on proper, thorough and deep maintenance now, which is what we're doing.
Andrew, I don't want to ambush you, but we tried to get hold of you guys on the whole Midrand story with the pylons that were put up, and then you went to court and it cost millions of rands. You didn't want to take them down, then you had to go back to court again, and you took them down. We haven't been able to get Eskom's side of the story. We've got the other side of the story, which says Eskom really have handled this badly. Have you been exposed to this within the group?
Well, certainly, this has been to court. The court has made a ruling, and we abide with it. It's as simple as that. Bearing in mind that we have hundreds of thousands of kilometres of power lines across the country, there will be times, unfortunately, when these power lines encroach on living settlements, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for utilities around the world, in fact, to find lovely open meadows where you can run power lines.
No, sure, but are you going to rebuild those power lines? Because that's what Andrew Norton told us. You're going to put them back up where they were.
No, not at the place where we were, but at the place which complies with the requirements of the court. And so we're certainly not adversarial. We'll accept the judgment, but at the same time, we have to make sure that not only is power secure at a generation level, that's what we've been talking about, but at a network level as well. And that means that we need to find some ways and some way through to provide reliable electricity, not based on one line, but on a meshed network, which is what this is about.
So we take a deep breath for 2 weeks, hope nothing goes wrong thereafter, and we should be back to normal.
1.5 weeks.
1.5 weeks.
Oh, it's come down.
Well, until next Friday.
Thanks so much to Andrew Etzinger, who is from Eskom.